Hey everybody, Doug from First Response. Figured I'd put a quick video together since it is leaf season of the setup that we're using right now. Obviously, we've got the leaf machine, which is our dump trailer. The dump trailer is a 2018 SureTrac. It's a 7x12, and it is a dual axle 12K GVR. So the trailer weighs about 3,500. Its max weight is about 8,500 pounds that it can haul legally. It dumps it with no problem. This one's a scissor lift, which we'll show you in a couple minutes. But here is what we have. So here's the back of the trailer. This is where all the work happens. So you can see we've got our BillyGoat. It's an 18 horsepower. One thing I would change about this is the non-key start. This is the pull start, which is fine. It just makes it a little bit annoying sometimes to actually start it. You have to get back in there to start it up. It's really not that big of a deal, but the key start one would be nicer. The reason that we went with this one is because our old vac stopped working. It actually basically blew itself up. It was a used one. We got it for $500. Lasted a little bit over a season, and then it was shot. This is the one that they had in stock at the dealer, and we took it. We needed something to go. We were in the middle of leaf season. It does have the piranha blade system, which chops up the leaves very well, and so far it's been so good. You can see it's got its hose. We keep everything nice and secured while we're driving. It's latched up at the top. We pull the arm back in with a bungee cord and everything's up off the ground. So now we can take a quick shot inside so you can see what's going on inside the trailer. We've got our nice 12x12 opening. It's a good 12x12 opening. The last video, obviously, I talked about how we're going to close that up a little bit. We're planning to box it off and put either some type of tube or even 2x4, something like that, just to make the opening a little bit smaller. That way less comes out. There's also probably, if you look at it, probably a 6 or 7, maybe 8-inch gap between the chute and the trailer itself. We're going to work on closing that up. You can see that we did put the 18-inch extension on. We did that after the first season of having it. What we found was if we were going in about 18 inches lower, the box would only fill to that height. It wouldn't get over that. So we got the extension. Now you can see it's almost up to the top. And it'll fill basically all the way. Once we get that opening boxed off a little bit better, then it should fill all the way up to the top. You can probably see this from here, but the last third of the trailer has a mesh top. The front 2/3 are 1/4-inch plywood. The reason that we did that was just because the front half keeps them a little bit drier. We found that if it sits overnight, especially closer towards the end of December, they'll freeze up if they get wet, so this stops that from happening. You can also see we have the hanger system so that it hangs right off the back tailgate. We did have to modify it a little bit with the wood just to make it sit a little bit straighter, and we've had no real issues with it. This is the 18 horsepower. If you go up to the 29, I would say you would want to put a third hinge on the door just for added strength. But with this one, it seems to do pretty much fine. And we try not to leave the door open. If you leave it open, obviously the weight's going to hang there. All right, so now we can go around the trailer a little bit. You can see that's the nozzle for the tube. 12-inch sides along the edge of it. We have plywood on its side, so you're gaining about 4 extra feet. You can see we do have our lighting system up. We've got 1 light on each side. We have 2 on the back, so that'll help us as the weather changes. Now from this angle, you can see our large sign. Got our regular signage. Obviously this is a regular dump trailer when we're not using it as the leaf box, and we've still got our logos and the name on it. So now if we go into the box, you can see we've obviously got the battery. It does have a charger on the outside that we could charge it. I've never actually plugged into that. It does trickle charge off the truck, and if the truck's running, that's where it'll pull the power from. So you can see the pump for the hydraulics. You've also got the tank there. Light switches, that's simply just for leaf season. That comes out when it's not leaf season. It's tied into the battery. It runs the 4 LED lights. We've got switches for the back and then one for each side. That way we're not blinding cars coming down the road. And then here is our controller. So if we want to dump, we push up on it. And now you can see the underside of the trailer. So underneath the trailer, you can obviously see in there, it is a hydraulic scissor lift. It's got the built-in ramps, that way we can get a machine under it. And you've got some tool storage. Normally there's a lot more as far as tools in there, but since we're basically in the off season for any installations, this is what we have. You can see it hitched up right now. It's hitched up to the Chevy. Usually the Ford's going to be pulling that. Here's our box. You can see our drop leg. Everything's chained up the right way. Spare tire hooked to it. Obviously we're going to need some tires. Probably do that as soon as leaf season's over, if not sooner. It looks like they are getting pretty worn down. We do have an extension here. That's what we hook the leaf vac to when we're going to dump. You can see some of our wiring coming down. And that's a trailer. You've seen enough videos of it running. I'm sure I'll put one up there to show it running, but you've got your power switches right in there. You've got your choke, oil, everything's right there. Here's our famous exhaust that lit on fire last week. You've got your throttle. And that's basically it. Gets very dirty. It was cleaned up before the season started, and it'll get cleaned up again at the end. But that's what we got. So a couple of things I would change, like I talked about. Obviously the chute opening is one thing. I would have gone with the key start one, but like I said, the 18 horsepower, either way you go, you can't lose. People have problems with them clogging. I've had the extension on there for a year and a half or so now. I've not really had any problems with it clogging, as long as you're paying attention to what you're doing. If they're wet leaves, you should go a little bit slower. Wet leaves will clog it, especially if sticks are mixed in. We have more problems with the tube clogging when you're actually pulling the suction before it gets to the impeller but the impeller will chop up anything. As far as the box, obviously I'd love to have a metal one, but it's just too expensive. And then the only other thing I would change, I don't even know that I would change it. I like having the scissor lift. It's very powerful. Now they've got the single piston up on the front, and those are very strong too. They have a little bit quicker return time and up time, but this one, it works like a champ. A lot of people say you don't want to go under a 14-foot trailer, and I understand that, but for the amount of times that we need to pull a machine with this, it hasn't really hurt us. Obviously, if you're hauling a large skid steer or something like that, you want the extra room, you can get extra attachments in, but usually if we're renting a machine, we're also renting the trailer with it until we get a trailer for equipment. So for now, the 12-foot's great. It can hold about 20 yards worth of leaves once they're chopped up, and I believe the BillyGoat does 12 or 15 to 1, so every 12 yards of leaves on the ground turns into about a yard in the trailer, so it can hold quite a bit. It's worked really well for us. Definitely some of the best things we've purchased. Back in the day, we used to just blow all the leaves to the curb, put them in the bed of a pickup truck, and then take them to the dump, which, one, your dump fees are way up. Two, it's not fun to do. This, you put the pile on the ground, you suck it up, and everything's good. So for now, that is the leaf vac. That's the leaf machine, and we're back out going on the road to clean up some more. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. Stay safe.